Did you know that the hair on your face is on average 4 times thicker than the hair on your head? Guys, in today's video, I've got 10 strange but true facts when it comes to shaving and facial hair. Fact number 1, men and women have about the same number of hair follicles on their face. Now, the reason men grow beards and women don't is because the hair follicles on a man's jaw are stimulated by the hormone dihydrotestosterone. Next up, the average man with a beard has 30,000 hairs on his face. Most of them are going to be concentrated on the upper lip and the chin. The average man's facial hair grows at a rate at half an inch a month. So this next one I found really interesting. That's drinking alcohol can actually speed up the growth of your facial hair. Now, the reason apparently is the dihydrotestosterone, that DHT. There is something in alcohol that basically converts it into the hormone that speeds up the growth of hair. So most of the information we found on this did not specify the type of alcohol, except in one case where they talked about beer. And apparently beer improves the circulation. I didn't exactly understand how they were able to show this, but apparently beer can help with beard growth. Speaking of beards, let's talk about the beard tax of 1698. So Peter the Great, he's trying to modernize Russia. He institutes this really tough beard tax where if you're walking into a town, the police can stop you and say, hey, do you have your token? If you didn't have a token and you didn't pay the beard tax, you were going to get publicly shaved, and they were getting rid of your beard right there. So now let me give you some crazy dates to think about. Men have been shaving and plucking their beard hairs since 30,000 BC. And they find clamshells, they find shark's teeth, they find flint razors. And let's talk about plucking, because that's what those clamshells were for. Apparently men have been plucking their beards for thousands of years. Guys like Julius Caesar actually apparently preferred it. I don't know, for me, sounds incredibly painful. I'm going to skip on plucking my beard. 29,600 years. That's how long the straight razor has ruled. In various forms, from copper to bronze to gold, the straight razor has had the longest reign. Now, the first safety razor was invented in 1762, and Perret's safety razor basically just covered up most of the blade so that you wouldn't have as deep of a cut, expose less, and therefore do less damage. So the strange thing to me here is the way our terminology has changed. This is now what we call a cartridge razor, and we recognize that the cartridge, the head of it, comes right off, so that's a cartridge razor in our definition. But technically what we call safety razors were initially called cartridge razors. So the electric razor, invented in 1928, it's been around about 90 years. The disposable razor, made popular in the 1960s, it's been around for about 60 years. The point is, there hasn't been much innovation in shaving for almost 50 years. That is until One Blade, guys, the paid sponsor of today's video. And I need to point out, over $1 million these guys have spent on research, on bringing you guys a new way to shave. One Blade's goal was pretty simple: to deliver you the perfect shaving tool for the perfect shave. Guys, One Blade does this with their patent-pending active floating blade approach system technology. This is once a blade has been latched in, it can move very minutely while still maintaining the perfect blade angle, exposure, and gap tolerances. The result is the perfect shave. We're talking a shave that you're not going to have cuts, you're not going to have ingrown hairs, you're not going to have any scrapes, any irritation. It is an excellent shave. I want you to go to their website. I'm linking to it down in the description and check out the razors. The Genesis. This is the first one I talked about a couple years back. Just an amazing razor. Next up, they've got the hybrid. This one, absolutely my favorite. It's got the head of the Genesis, and overall, I thought the feel of the Genesis a great option. And the third option is going to be the Core razor. This is their most affordable option, and it still maintains, though, the blade angle and the exposure and the gap that you're looking for. So One Blade's giving you a 60-day trial, a lifetime guarantee, and the best deal you're ever going to find is down in the description of this video. So if you're looking to take your shaving to the next level, you want to grab One Blade, guys. An amazing deal. Again, the best deal you're going to find down in the description. So the next strange facial hair fact is that militaries around the world and police departments seem to ban beards. Why? Oftentimes the reason said is because in a fight, in a scuffle, you don't want to have something that somebody can grab. But in the 1930s, the military actually banned beards because you had to be able to get a good seal whenever you put on a face mask. Now this next fact is about dispelling myths. Whenever you shave, your hair does not grow back thicker. It appears to grow back more coarse because actually you have cut the follicle. Now at the end of a hair follicle, what we see is it actually is thinner than at the base. Next up, let's talk about eyebrows, a bit of facial hair that most people don't even think about, and very few people actually know both reasons why we actually have eyebrows and what they're used for. Now, some of you guys know reason number one, it's about protection. So eyebrows are going to keep the sun out of your eyes. Whenever you sweat, they're going to keep the sweat, beat it over to the sides. But the second reason, very few people know about this, and that is eyebrows help you express yourself. So when you're looking across and you're upset, you notice how you can see the eyebrows move. And that is a big part in us being able to communicate with other human beings and why this facial hair is here. The next strange fact about beards, shaving, and facial hair is that it is the biggest fashion that men have fallen into for thousands of years. Many of us have recognized, the hipster trend recently, but if you go back throughout history, this has happened again and again. You see US presidents, just look at who was bearded, who was not, and how it moves up and down. So the next strange fact about facial hair is that beard growing contests are apparently huge. They had one in Texas back in 2017, and they had 738 competitors from 33 countries in 27 categories for both men and women. Now, apparently this contest only happens every 2 years, so you have time to grow the beard, but this is serious business, and next time it's in Europe. So the next strange facial hair fact is that apparently beards cannot commit treason. So we go back to 1533. Sir Thomas More, he decides, I'm not going to attend the coronation of Anne Boleyn. She says, you know what? I'm going to take your head. And he talks to the executioner and he points out, hey, my beard has committed no crime. Can we please spare my beard? And the executioner agrees. They actually move his beard out of the way and they cut off his head cleanly without cutting the beard. The next strange fact about facial hair is that human beings are not the only ones that have facial hair. Let's look at the animal kingdom. So we look at lions, the obvious one we all know about, the king of the jungle, but we also see it with the bearded emperor tamarin. Let's look at the Highland cattle out of Scotland, the lion-tailed macaque, and did you know that orangutans are apparently the only other ape that can grow a beard? So another strange facial hair fact is the story behind Fidel Castro's beard. Apparently before the revolution, he was clean shaven. After the revolution, he grew a beard. When asked why, the story was, hey, I'm going to save 15 minutes a day. That's 10 days out of the year that I could devote to being a better revolutionary. Now that's a nice story for creating a good communist legend, but apparently when Barbara Walters interviewed him, she asked the question and it just came down to, oh, well, my favorite razors coming in from the US, we no longer got them, so I stopped shaving. So at this point, you've got some very interesting facial hair knowledge, but do you actually know how to go through the perfect shave? Guys, check out this video right here, how to shave perfectly. The 7-step process you need to go from preparing to actually getting the perfect shape. But it does help when you've got an amazing tool. And guys, I've had One Blade's hybrid blade now for over a couple months. Absolutely love it. Have gotten a lot of great shaves out of it. And the Genesis, this is where it all started. I've had this one for now almost 2 years. Guys, a great company making an amazing product. They put a lot into the engineering, into building the perfect tool to give you the perfect shape. I think they've done it. Check them out down in the description. Another person that liked to tax beards, Queen Elizabeth I. Apparently, if you had more than 2 weeks of growth, she would tax it. But my thing is, how can they tell if it's 2 weeks of growth? I mean, for one guy, 2 weeks isn't that much. For another guy, it's a heck of a lot. I mean, how did they do that? One of those mysteries we'll never figure out.